Hey Mike, how's it going? Okay, so let me close some things on my computer just to free up some space. Okay, so can't hear anything anymore. Hopefully you can still hear me. In today's class, we're going to actually build products from end to end. So basically, I think it's a good idea for people to go through trying to build something from end to end, even if it's not what you actually want to build as a product, because it's like a good learning experience to see the process. And one good way to do this is actually to clone other products. I wish they had done this in school when I was in school, like at BU, because I learned mostly like theoretical things, but we never really learned how like functional services work. And well, I guess a lot of it was kind of just cloud was kind of getting invented then, so it would be really hard to build a class around that. So okay, so basically, let me make sure everyone's in the call. Oops. Okay, so let's recap fundamentals from what we were doing in the first two classes. So basically, a lot of what we're teaching is already used by software engineers. These are best practices by software engineers, but there are parallels in vibe coding that have similar benefits. So basically, you want to iterate step by step. Software engineers also typically only do like one thing per PR, usually. And this helps like scope projects, testing, a lot of really easy, like things that businesses have realized over time helps. So it also one other consequence is the models hallucinate less if you have less of it activated. So the percentage of the model that's activated increases the hallucination percentage. So if you kind of scope out like exactly what you need, there's less chance of it making an error. So try to do like one step, one thing at a time. That was the main point. And version control, like every time it downloaded a file, software engineers use GitHub and things like PRs and stuff. But downloading a file and then using that code again is equivalent to um, version control, basically. And then in the last class, we taught live mode version 2. So um, there's this. Okay, so there's this new live mode. We started live mode actually in Bootcamp season 3, right before the ChatGPT launch. So if I go back here, yeah, about like all the boot camps and things. Bootcamp season 3, or maybe it was season 2. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's interesting. I think this was launch day. Okay, season 3. So like during one of our boot camps, we we launched and ChatGPT. We launched like 2 weeks after ChatGPT, and we hacked kind of like the ChatGPT interface so that we could take the code it generated and have it like display the code as HTML in the page because we had a Chrome extension that did that. And that was fun, but that was like the early first version of something called live mode that I still use today because it's really fun for me. Like if you like building products, it's exciting. I've done like all my code using it now recently, and it it does things that like like I would be able to do, but maybe it would take me months or it would be too tedious maybe. So like I would never actually do myself. So if we hadn't used live mode, we would probably be months behind where I am now. And it's like a superpower actually. So it's like a gift I can give you guys if you want to use it. Basically, it should accelerate what you're doing to months like so that you like spend like months of time in like the period of a few days actually. And so the only thing is that even with me using it, there are certain limitations with the tool, but that's totally fine because you understand like it's saving now it might be even like years of time. It's accelerating us in ways that are impossible before and really exciting. Like it enables things that were I would never even like do myself. So for example, in our live mode, we have a GitHub integration that takes your GitHub repo and sends it to Vercel. And in order to do that, there's no API to do that connection. And so the chat will actually tell you that it's impossible if you ask it to do it. But I knew that it is possible because you can just like take all the files and do it one by one. So what I asked it to do is something really impossible. I said, create a file system in the browser, copy every single file into a folder, and then clone it into another repo, and then use that as the GitHub repo for Vercel. And so there's no official way to do this, but it generated the code to create a file system in the browser, copy every single file from this other GitHub repo, generate a new GitHub repo for you exactly like that. Like the super tedious thing that like you can see all the code. It's crazy. It's in our Chrome extension, but that I would never have even written myself. But I can kind of imagine it because I know the things that are I guess they're possible and things. Oh, you can't hear me? Hold on. Let me see what microphone I'm using. Okay, it's better. Okay, yeah, sorry. So basically, my point is, it was doing like this is like a magical thing, basically. Okay, cool. And then in the last class, we did something that's even like new for me. So in the last year or 2 years, I've been using it to generate all of our front ends for OpenAgent Studio and Cheat Layer and all of our tools like toy.new. And that's great. But it's always been like this piecewise thing. So finally in the last class, I realized this idea that I had that I wanted for myself. Like all these tools I wanted for myself first, really. So that's why I built them. And this version, live mode version 2, allows you to actually edit the backend. So that's what we're going to spend the most time on today. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And you don't need to install anything actually because I set up a server and I opened all the ports so you can do it at home. But I also emailed you guys the install instructions for how to install it. So it's in our documentation. So you can find the. Oh yeah, this is cool. You can, if you go to any Mint Liffey documentation and add LLM full text, you can get the LLM version. So you can use our documentation as, um, it's better than MCP basically. It lets you integrate cheat layer into any sort of agent tool. But Mint Liffey has this by default. It's like a feature of Mint Liffey. That's kind of cool. I'm not sharing this tab, am I? Hold on. I just realized that you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. Hold on. Let me share everything. Uh, Stop. Wait. Present something else. Okay. Entire screen. Okay. So what I was showing was if you add LLM's full dot text at the end of like every Mint Liffey documentation thing, it generates this text version that you can paste into models. It's kind of like MCP but better. Like I think this should be just be like a default feature in Chrome because that would make MCP obsolete essentially. Because then you can apply this to any documentation um, thing. Anyways, so if you take that off though, you can install the new Windows version, but there's new Windows install instructions.
After
Oops. Yeah. And it's on YouTube and it has the last class as well. Okay. So you can follow that, but you don't need to for this class. So in this class, I set up a server that you can just use my server and things. And then if you have setup issues, just contact support. But basically, the latest version on Windows hosts, let me show you. So it hosts two servers, llama.cpp, three servers. So okay, I'm going to show you in this video. Okay, so three servers, a llama.cpp, which is basically uh, Llama. It's like this open source meta project that was created to make like build basically local versions of um, all the open source models that you can run on your machine. And then there's like several offshoots and open source copies of it that allow you to run local models basically. And then so what this does is you can pick different models and you can edit the code. If you have a better machine, you can pick a different model, but this works pretty well. It hosts two models on your machine now, and we use them. There's like a text model from Microsoft and the new small VLM model that basically we use to allow you to build agents. And then so in Open Agent Studio, this tool, let's see, the agentic operations like Clicker and Scraper, they use models, and now they all use unlimited local models and things like that. So I would watch that tutorial to install it, but you don't need to for this class. So do that after class or whatever if you need to, things like that. And then if you have problems installing, you can contact support on our website. So basically, oh yeah, you can start the repo because it's also the code is all open source now. You can look at the code and learn from it if you're interested in that. So we can open this up and we can maybe put it in the chat. The install instructions are also here. So if you have a version that we don't yet support, you can download the code and try running the Python code. Like Mac, for instance, it's easier to actually just run the Python code than to create an installer because Mac has like security issues and things. So we'll release like a Mac version soon. Yeah, and then let's go back here. So, okay. So that, like the reason this is exciting, it's actually even exciting for me, is that we can now edit the front end and back end, and there's no tool out there that currently makes this easy. And the reason there's like a very interesting reasons for this is because models weren't good enough yet to do this until recently. Until recently, models were the context limits and their complexity and effectiveness limited them to only edit like one file at a time. And so if you gave them like backends and front ends, they would often hallucinate and mess things up and things like that. And you have to, for that reason, the only way to get it to work was to create the scaffolding yourself and very explicitly ask it what to generate, which is really brilliant. I wanted to do that. I got busy doing other things. I have my own live mode tool and things like that, so it was pretty useful for me. And I decided not to focus on that. So because I figured that eventually models would just get good enough, and they did. And so what works now is you can kind of holistically generate both the front end and back end, which you could have always. It's just context limits weren't good enough. There weren't any good models yet. Claude 3.7 can do this now, where there's no hallucinations or it's very good at it. And since it's generating the whole thing in one shot, you can actually generate like actual complex software tools, or at least ask it to like, you can like put it into a chat and use the tools we've taught you to like, when things fail, you can do things piecewise basically. Um, Build whatever you want. So this is exciting for me actually, because now we were accelerating on the front end. We were accelerating on the front end, but now I can actually accelerate on the back end too, which is cool too. Because there's like lots of cool things I want to do on the back end that I've been like dreaming of doing, and now I can finally do them, and so that's exciting. And you guys are now you have access to the same thing, so it's exciting for you as well. And so even if you haven't installed this locally, you should be able to. Hold on, I think I'm running the server now, so hold on, let me just make sure. Yeah, it's running here. Let me. This you should be able to go here. Yes. So for this class, I actually set up 30 servers. So if you download this on Linux or Windows and you follow the install instructions, there's a file called um, agent servers. Let me show you how to edit it here. So it's called agent servers. When you unzip it in Windows and Linux, there's this file called agent servers. .py, and you can edit it, and you can actually edit the number of servers. So if you have like a high-end machine, you can put 500 here if you wanted. But just for this class, I just put 30, so that you guys all have Yeah, I guessed it correctly. There's 30 people on the call. That's funny. So you guys all have servers, and then so what you can do now is just pick one of these servers during the call and follow along with me, or build your own thing. Because at the end of the call, I'll try to like help people if you're stuck on something, and we'll go through like like there's actually like a list of tools that you can use that are basically just language tools. So there's we can all use them that will get you past all these roadblocks, which I've used to build basically all these tools. And I haven't written any code in like maybe like serious code. Like I've had to do like edits and things, and like it's helpful to know software engineering because, for example, in that GitHub example, I knew something that it thought was impossible. So I was able to imagine something that it wouldn't have known. And so it's still useful. But you can also do that now. So, in fact, you can do that in ways that maybe I don't even know because you have deep industry insight and things that I have no idea about. So, basically, what I'm saying is now you can build things that you can't build in like the other vibe coding tools like bolt.new and loveable because they had to build the scaffolding to get it to work. But now, since we're doing it holistically, it's generating a Flask server, which is a Python server, which is great and fine. And especially good for AI development because it allows you this path to even train your own models and host them someday. If you have like a graphics card, you can do all sorts of cool things. You can even just download a model and start selling. I can do a tutorial of this. You can start selling like image generator tools that runs on your local GPU. All sorts of really fun things you can do. And all of this is free. You don't have to pay any cloud service uh, monthly fees or anything because it's all running locally on your Windows machine. I should probably do like an entire class on like security and things like that. But basically, if it's for your own use, then you're already secure behind your firewall and router. If you want to sell it as a service, then we can teach you how to do things like port forwarding. And if you do that anyway, we'll have to set up SSL. So you're kind of there's like it's kind of foolproof, but you have to follow certain instructions to do it. So we can do that maybe like in a bonus class or something like that. But for now, this is enough for you to build entire services that are impossible using other vibe coding tools that are on par with like the bleeding edge services that we've built, like Agent Space and Cheatlayer. You can build everything I can build now. In fact, you're using my favorite ways to do it and things. So, and you could possibly even build things that I can't build at all because you have deep industry insight in everything that I don't understand. So you should actually have, and possibly no one else understands as well. So maybe like before we go on, so yeah, try going to this link. I think I dropped the slides in this in the thing, but I can paste this link here. So pick the server for this class and call out the server that you want to use for the class in the chat. And then yeah, oh yeah, Jeff already called it out. Cool. You guys already called out servers. That's nice. I was just gonna say that. Cool. Yeah, call out the server you want to use for the class, and then so no one else uses your server. And then, I mean, if you want to work with someone else, you can pair code and stuff. There's not like I don't think that many people in the call, so you should be able to call out a server, and then like a lot of them are you can an empty server is one that has the template code in it for a microserver. And then the cool thing is we can all edit it in parallel. So if you click save and update, it won't mess someone else's up. Okay, cool. And it that will allow us to like update in parallel and save things in parallel. I want to do something maybe before we start. I want to see if we can add version control because then we can like go back and stuff. Like let's try like for 5 minutes. Let's see if I can add version control and then we'll proceed and edit things. But yeah, you guys, while I'm doing that, call out what um yeah what servers you want to use, and I'm gonna see if I can add version control to this while we're doing this. Okay, so let me just go to a new room. So I'm doing this live. Actually, I'm adding a feature to this, and you can even do this too because you have the code. It's open source. This is how we add features and how we build agent space and cheat layer and all these things. So this is the server that runs all the agent server.py, and then you have this. So this is where you can edit the 30 and stuff. And you can add features to this if you wanted to. So I want to add version control. So I think I'm still sharing my full screen. Yeah. So let's try. So Linus, the inventor of Linux, he invented Git before he built Linux because he needed it to build Linux. Actually, so we need this actually to build if we want version control will help us, I think. So update this to add version control for each server by saving each update as a different and allow users to click previous updates to load. I think that should be enough. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's see if this works. I haven't actually done this yet, so we're. I mean, I did update it this morning to just test like what we were doing today would work, but I didn't try this yet, so I have no idea if this will work. Let's hope so. And if it doesn't work, I can teach you how I bypass these roadblocks. None of the roadblocks are impossible to bypass. So, I mean, the hard research things, like long-term research things like open-ended problems, it can still help you with actually, but those are kind of like hard. But if you have like a clearly defined goal and things like that, you can usually get there by just iteration step by step and pasting in the errors, using all the tools we've taught you so far, basically, scoping out the problem. And then eventually, when you do run out of like context windows, you can like ask it to generate minimal updates, just update one function and things like that. And this is looking promising. Oh yeah. Let me share a key that you can use for today's class. Hold on. Oh, that's fine. Maybe I can share a key. Oh yeah. You can choose the lower servers under 10, but I'd recommend choosing one of the higher servers that haven't been edited yet with the like micro thing, because that just means someone else isn't editing. So that's a good practice, but also it might like try to add it to like a snake game or something. So if you pick server 4, I would pick like 24. I think that's oh no, so I wouldn't pick 24. I would pick 14, I think 15. So I think 15 has been I edited 15, so I'd maybe pick 16 or 17 or one of the higher ones. Find one that like yeah, okay. Find one that hasn't been edited. They'll just be easier for you. I'm not just saying it won't work, it'll just be easier for you. And then you can use my open router key, which lets you use Claude 3.7 to edit everything and without having to like add credits to your open router account. So I just pasted in the chat. Okay. And then so I'm adding a feature here that hopefully if this works, I'll just restart the server and it should add version control for everyone, which would be fun. So that's like, it's exciting. Um, but we're doing it live just to like show you how I deal with like problems and troubleshooting and debugging, because I think this is really the roadblocks people have, but it's not really difficult. It's like you have to kind of imagine like you're hiring an engineer doing it for you, and this is like the engineer, and like just like real employees, they might not get it right the first time, so you just have to like work with them and show them what's actually happening, like give them errors and things like that and teach them and stuff like that. And then sometimes no, I don't want to scare you. It's okay. Yeah. Anyway, I was gonna say sometimes there's times where it kind of can't help you. Like you have to do something crazy to solve the problem, which I've had to do before, but that's very rare. Like I've only had that happen once in my lifetime so far, so hopefully you never have to encounter a problem that Claude 3.7 can't help you solve. I've had that time at least once for now. And I just like the way I solved it was like random testing basically and like digging down into debugging everything. And eventually you kind of get inspiration on how you can deduce why it's happening. But this was such a crazy thing that you shouldn't have to worry about this. Yeah. Okay, cool. So there's a new version. Let's try this version. All right, I'm excited because I have no idea actually what's gonna happen. So we're doing it live. Okay. So yeah, you're just watching what I actually literally do in my workflow. I just copy that code, and then sometimes like in this like workspace thing, because I'm on Linux right now. Yeah, it has this pasting issue, so I have to create like a new folder and then upload it. That's okay though, because like this feels like tedious, but you have to imagine like I think we're getting like spoiled here because like it would have taken me, I don't know, hours or something to write this code. And so it's kind of funny. I'm totally okay with spending like a few extra seconds to fix it. Um, yes. Um, maybe no. But it's kind of funny. Yeah, I see this like reaction to some of the AI tools that it's like making mistakes and it's like taking, but um, I don't know. I guess it's like uh, this seems orders of magnitude better than what I was doing years ago. So I'm okay if it makes like a few mistakes right now. It saves me like probably years or yeah, right now I'm sure it's added up to years of time, especially all of our automation things. I have this fun little uh, calculation at the end of my slide decks. Let's see is if you like add up all the hours we save our customers times all our customers over a year, it's actually 41 lifetimes. So every year we're saving lives. And but I kind of stole this. So anyways, there's this if you've seen this let me go back to this update. If you've seen this folklore.org thing before, uh, okay, it's like this Mac folklore website. Oh wait, hold on. I have to be sure that tells you all the old Mac, like Macintosh old stories and things, and some of them are really inspiring. And like, so Steve Jobs once went into the old Macintosh team, and like if you own a Mac, you kind of know this, or if you did like maybe 5 years ago. Now they're not that bad actually, but like 5 or 10 years ago, the Mac had like a super slow startup time. And it used to take like 10 minutes and things like that. And then so in the first Mac, Steve Jobs and like the first Macintosh team working on the first Mac, he went into the team and he tried to motivate them to basically optimize the startup time for the Mac. And he did a similar calculation that I do now in my pitch decks, which seems to do pretty well. It's kind of funny, but um, and he like said that, well, if you do this and you save like 10 seconds of time and you add this up, you're actually literally saving lives. And so that's how he motivated the original Mac team to to like speed up the Mac boot time. So that wasn't the original thing, but I think it's kind of cool. It still applies though. Okay, so I've updated this now. So to test this new update, let's just try to launch the server. Hopefully it works. Okay, let's see here. Hmm, nice. Okay, is it doing something? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, I don't see any version control settings. Hold on, did I mess this up? Yeah, it's very unlikely that Claude messed it up. It's more likely that I messed it up now, and that's kind of funny. Like I'm more likely to believe I made a mistake now because Claude is pretty good at this. So hold on. I think I maybe didn't save it correctly or something. Okay. So agent server.3.py. Okay, copy this. And then I see. Yeah, I did make a mistake. So I have to save this. Hmm. All right, let me. So it's in the main folder. So this is just on Linux. It's okay. Um, All right, now we can try it. I mean, it might not work, but if it doesn't work, I can show you how to fix it usually. This is a simple thing, so I'm pretty sure we'll get it. And it's pretty effective, so we probably need it. So this way, if you do like overwrite someone's thing, we can like go back and stuff. But I've been wanting it myself because it's kind of tedious to like copy and paste the code back, and like that's been our version control for non-technical users for now. So you don't have to use GitHub, and GitHub is actually a scary thing because if you don't know software engineering, there's this like funny trope about like junior software engineers who join companies and make a mistake in GitHub or Git and like erase their whole like I've done it too. It's kind of funny. They're like erase their whole code base or something and make it like really hard to recover and stuff like that. So okay, let's now check. Do we have version control? No. Or maybe we do, but I don't understand how it works. Hold on. Is it? Hmm. Hmm. Maybe it does work. But not like how we intended. What do you think? Let's see here. Is there any updates here? No. We look at the code. Oh. Hold on. System versions. Okay. Hmm. Let me just make sure I'm running the right one. And let's try this again. Oops. Oh, okay. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I can just yeah. Okay. So let me see. Let me just make sure this is the right one. Okay. Open version control. Yeah, system versions. Okay, cool. So maybe it's just really simple and we didn't notice it. Okay, is it working? Oh, my bad. I understand what's going on. Sorry, give me a second. Let me clear all old servers. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's you need to kill that. Okay. All right, now it should work. Try that again. Well, that's good. Let me just make sure I opened the right. I mean, Claude 3.7 is pretty good. This will be the first time it's like made a mistake if it has. Let me just make sure it's like visually. I should see something. Yeah, version control. Yeah, there should be something there. Okay. Okay, let's try this up yet. Oh yeah, version control. There you go. Mm. Mm. But ooh, version control. Okay, cool. I have no idea what it does, but let's see if it works. So, let me pick like an empty server. So the way I look for empty servers is to find these micro things. Okay, turn this into a sample Okay, and then I need my open render key, and we can see how version control works. Okay. Generate. This is fancy if it works. So it should also work in your version if you refresh the page. Let me see. Nice. Okay, and then we'll continue with building stuff. Okay. Okay, updated successfully. Okay, save and apply. Okay. Oh, there it is. Yeah, fancy. Wait. Does it work? Okay. Nice. Yeah, it loads the old version. Cool. Yeah, version control. We invented Git. That's funny. So if you don't know the story, yeah, Linus Torvalds, the inventor of Linux, he invented Git before he built Linux because he needed a way to do version control. And he only did it as like a side project, but now it turned into like this $1 billion company called GitHub. I mean, that got bought by Microsoft. Like, so it's this like really important thing because now we can go back. Don't worry about making mistakes and like things like that. Okay, now you can pick a server and start editing it and playing with it and things like that. So okay, so you can do yeah, it's kind of fun. Okay, I'll release that version so you guys can use it in your local version, but you can use the live like server now for today's class, and then like after class I'll update the Mac and no, sorry, the Linux and Windows versions, and then you'll have that version control stuff. But you just saw how I built it. We didn't have any issues. Like, I mean, in the code itself, we had issues, but the code didn't. It wasn't Claude issues. So Claude got it exactly correctly in one shot, and it added this feature for us. So you can imagine that you can add whatever features you want that you can want, like imagine and desire in any software, not just what we just did to our product. You can just build whatever you want now, and just like talking to an engineer basically, and it'll sometimes not work like just like now, but you just kind of have to describe why it didn't work, and it'll walk you through it or figure out why you didn't get it right. That's usually the most common issue. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back and so let's start building some of these things together. Um, the server is running, and you guys are picking servers to work on. Okay, so in today's class, you can either choose to follow along with me and build what we're building, and we're just going to go over some common products and things. Um, let's see, probably this one is easier or faster to do first, and then we'll do AI SDR next, maybe. Okay. And then over the course of the next week or so, I'm actually going to build entire products that I want myself. And there's no reason we ever have to pay for software again, actually. The only reason is we're just not going through the process of like asking it to build it for us, actually. And the process is kind of tedious right now, to be honest. It's not easy. It's not like what we just did was just the first step for one feature, but we usually have to like add many features to make it a successful product and things. So over the next week, I'm gonna build like an AI SDR, an AI phone agent, like an instantly clone, a CRM for us that's custom and does like welcome emails and all sorts of things. And basically all the software we've needed, that's usually very expensive, business software that normally costs like thousands of dollars. That if we built and open sourced it, then we would inject a significant amount of value back into the economy. And it's similar to how Linux and what Linus did when he built Git and then Linux. That was all open source and free. And because he gave it away, all of that value was exponentially multiplied across all the companies rather than having to have it sell it and then hoard it in one monopoly. It created exponentially more value. So there's this kind of path where through software, it's kind of obvious, but it's not obvious. Like it's obvious that software does incredible things where you can create like exponentially more value. And for some reason, like certain business models have limited that. So like what we're doing with open sourcing this and like making it easy to build this and generate it, if we make it easy enough, it should level the playing field basically and teach people that they don't need to like purchase and funnel money into these monopolies, and they can build better products that have custom features that are free, unlimited, more secure, because you don't have to worry about like a single entity getting hacked. You have like millions of entities that are harder to hack or even completely offline, and like it's just like a better design in like the long run. But you can still have businesses like around these things because there's this inherent limitation in humans where we can only keep like track of like around 100 things at a time. And so opportunity cost wise, if you're running a business, you don't want to spend that time running maintaining at least the agents and CRM and things like that. And maybe one day maintenance will also be solved with AI, but it hasn't yet. And support also hasn't really been solved. And most people would still prefer talking to a real person to help them with software than like any agent, any sort of automation, actually. So if all else were equal, these businesses will some businesses will still exist because other businesses will still always want someone else to do it for them because of the opportunity cost and the time value of what they're selling. So it's not true for all businesses. Maybe this will be like a radical change, but most businesses will still prefer to pay the guy down the street for Salesforce and HubSpot, but the custom version of Salesforce and HubSpot. Then literally Salesforce and HubSpot, even if it is more money, because if they're getting like the same thing with better features and it's someone that they know, it's just a better experience actually. So okay, so call out one of these things. We're going to start building stuff. So you can either build what I'm building in today's class and you can follow along with me and like do the same prompts and stuff like that, or like if you get stuck, you can copy the code from my server and paste it into your server and click save and apply and then catch up. So that's one trick you can do. Or you can build whatever you want to build, whatever you think your like an MVP is, and then if you get stuck, I can help you like at the end of the class. Okay, so we're gonna start with the Slack clone. So I'm gonna go to my server. I'm gonna pick one of these empty servers. Okay, 16. I don't think anyone else is doing 16. Let me see. Open servers. Okay, 16. Nice. So I'll do 16, and then I'm gonna do this Slack clone just to show you guys how I'm doing this. So there's two ways to add data to a project now. In the first class, we taught you how to add Firebase as like a drop-in, bring your own data replacement, and this is actually a pretty cool use case, and you can still use it. In fact, you can use Firebase for this one if you like Firebase. But since we have a backend now, we can actually ask it to make like a simple backend and save all the data there. So I'm going to try that. And then we can also try a Firebase version. Oh, and the trick I found to do multiple servers of this on your, like, if you want, like on your own version or something like that, is you can just open a new tab and have them generate in parallel. And so you can generate like multiple different products in parallel, and like you can basically create like a team of software engineers who are like building things for you in parallel, and then like they come back and you can hit save in parallel and it'll update them in parallel without overwriting each other. That's kind of fun. So yeah, yeah, I do that. That's kind of exciting actually. So um, it's really effective to like A/B test different ideas. In this one, you can try this prompt. So update this to create a fully functional Slack clone that uses a simple local database to allow users to add the email password and store all the channels and messages. That should be enough to start. Oh yeah, let's get. Oh no, we're not doing Firebase yet. Let's do it just with that. So if you wanted to do Firebase, you would paste in your Firebase credentials like we did in the first class, and I can show you how to do that. But this version allows you to do it entirely like your own intranet company version, your own offline version, things like that. And the funny thing is, like, I've like seen Slack communities where it's like this VC that makes millions of dollars, but they're not going to pay for Slack because, but it's just because they use Slack because it's like easy and well known, and the free trial is like easy to get people to sign up. But the limitation is if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't pay for Slack, you don't get the access to like the history of the messages. So you can imagine like this VC, and like a bunch of VCs do this. They have their own Slack communities, but they don't pay for the Slack, and I don't want to pay for Slack either. But it seems like so crazy that it's so expensive. Okay, so it created something. Okay, so I'm gonna click save and apply. So yeah, after it generates the code, it'll say save and apply, and then you click save and apply. And then let's go back to 16. We should make it easier maybe to jump to the server you want. Maybe we can add that as a feature next. Okay, is the server running? Yes, let's see if it's working. Oh no, there's some error. Okay, so it might have failed. Let's see. Um, Restart. Okay. I don't think it failed. It's running. There's some internal error. Okay, let me see. Hmm. Okay, so if you run into an error, like someone else ran into an error in server 24, you can paste in the errors. So I can maybe give you this error as well into the chat, and it should fix them. So I'm going to try this. Let's see if this works. Let me just copy the error. Copy. Okay. They should be able to fix it. It might be like a version thing. Okay, let me. Oops. Yeah. And then it didn't load. Please fix this error. Okay. And then generate. And okay, let's just wait for it to finish. So I tried this before class and it worked the first time. So, but sometimes it runs into an error. So this is actually good. So I can show you how to fix these things. So I wonder if there's one somewhere here that already has a cert, like a Slack thing. Hold on, let me see. Um, is it this one? Oh yeah, this one. Oh yeah, this one uses server 15 uses Firebase. So you can copy server 15 actually, and you can edit it and add your own features or your own Firebase credentials. You can copy the code here, and I can show you how it's supposed to work. So this one worked the first time. So you generate, yeah, so you register, enter password. It doesn't like ask you to verify. You can add verification actually if you wanted to. Okay, cool. And since it's using Firebase, it like you have access to the backend data and things like that. So you can say fast3 test hello. And you guys can create accounts on this same server, and you should see the same things too. Actually, you should see these same messages. Okay, so you can test that out on server 15 if you click view server. Oh, if you do it on your version, on when you click view server, remember to add the IP address. So let me go to server 15 on your version. That's like out on the internet. So okay, hold on. Yeah, server 15. Yeah, that won't show up unless you add this IP address. And then instead of localhost, it's set up to work on localhost instead of whatever IP address it is. You have to put the IP address and then colon, and there you go. Okay, and then you can try this out. Rome. Nice. Um, yeah, so you can play around with this one, but you have the code to edit this one as well, or add it to your own local servers. Okay, cool. So, okay, let me go back to mine and see how it's generating. Wait a minute. Okay, save and apply. Let's see if we fix this one. 16. Oh, there's an error here. Okay, so sometimes it'll also put an error here, then that means it like failed to run it probably. So let's do this again. Oh. I think it's just this. There's like quotes around it. Okay. we should probably fix that in like the global version. Yeah, I think it like something broke here. Yeah, let me just ask it to fix it. That might be the easiest thing. Okay. While that's going, I can maybe do it on this one too. Okay. Let's do it in a new tab so that I can run a few of these in parallel. Okay. For email password and I mean, I shouldn't have to say that, so that should be enough. Let's do a few of these. Okay, that's not being used. And add emojis. And then let's do another one. I think this one's, oh, this one's being taken, I think. Oh, no, that's not taken. Okay. Okay. And add video calling with web on your PC. Oh, no, I think you need HTTPS for that. So I guess I can teach you how to do that one day. Basically, for HTTPS SSL encryption, you need a real domain. So it's not that hard. You just have to going through and set it up. So make it fully functional. And what else do we want in things? Direct messages. Okay, that should be good. Okay, let's see if this one's done. All right, this one's done. Save and apply. Is this one done? This one's still generating. This one's still generating. Okay. Okay. Oh, there's still an error in this one. Okay. Generate. Now this one's done. I'm still generating. Server 18. Oh yeah. Wait. No, that should be running. Hold on. Oh. Oh, okay. So if this happens, sometimes there's like you need to install a library. In our old version, we used to install it for you using Bash. I think we can just add that feature again. So Let me see if I can side load it without restarting the server. Otherwise, I'll just have to restart the server. Okay, one sec. So if that happens, you would do something like this: pip install, and then paste in whatever library that it wants you to do. And it did it. Okay. Okay, yeah, it did it. Okay. So let's maybe try to restart the server. Um, that's running. This needs a restart. Okay, restart server 18. Okay, now it's running. Okay, cool. And then, nice. What did we make in this one? Register account. 7. So you can follow along with me. Oh, something happened. Okay. There's another error. So I'll just copy all this, and then I'm going to ask it to fix it. So let's go back here. Oh, wait. Which one am I? This one, yeah, server 18. Yeah, looks like there's some bug here. Okay, I'm going to paste this in. And let's just click generate. I'm not even going to type anything. Let's see if it figures it out. Did this one finish? Okay, this one finished. Let's click save and apply. And what server are we here? Server 17. View server. Oh, something. Yeah, no, something went wrong. Okay, let's see what happened. Maybe I need to restart the server. Server 17. Nope, still some issue. Let me see. Try it one more time. Okay, this one's going. This one's done. Let's see what's going on here. Save and apply. Server 19. Okay, this one looks like it's working. Okay. So register. Oh, this one has a username. 8@cheatlayer.com. Test pass 5. Okay. Oh no, something happened. Internal server error. Let's see what happened. Hold on. Okay. I'm gonna put this in here and try to fix it. And let's go back to these ones. Okay, this one is done. This one is done. Okay. Let's test this one. That one's done. Okay, let's test this one. Okay, that one's still working. I don't think it's working. Hold on. No, I don't think it's working. One sec. Server 18. Let me see. Okay. Maybe I'll do just one version with Firebase then. Let's see if that's more successful. Okay, this one is still generating. This one is still generating. And this one. Um, I think this one just failed. Hold on. Let me do one with Firebase. Okay. Okay, there we go. Nice. Cool. So in this one, you can go back and maybe look at what we did because there's like version control. So you can go back and kind of see what the errors were on those versions and try to run them and see if you can fix them yourself by just like pasting in the error into the chat. And you should be able to. Let me see. What happens if I create manual backup? Oh, it adds a minute. Cool. So you should be able to on server 19. You can kind of see if you can debug issues yourself, like we just did. So I mean, you will encounter this anyway when you build these products. And most vibe coders get frustrated when this happens. But this gives you like a straightforward. I didn't write any code, so I like explicitly tried to do this with just by copying and pasting and without typing anything. And all I did was I just kind of in each one of these, and you see I had like three engineers working for me just now in parallel. And each one of these, I just copy pasted the code until it worked and kind of did what I wanted, basically. So let me see if I can add channels. Oh, I can't add channels. Okay, never mind. It doesn't work. Hold on. Okay, I guess we have to fix that next. Let's see. It doesn't only need to add channels, and I can't send messages. So let me keep this one going. And then while this one's going, let's maybe make one with Firebase. It was a little bit easier with Firebase for some reason, so maybe you can try that. And you might have. Now let's just do one at a time. Emojis out of chat. Messages. And there we go. Okay. Mm. What else do we have after Slack today? Oh, AISDR. Yeah, I started building this too. This is also kind of easy because you just need to hook up a mailgun, a transactional email API, plus OpenRouter API, and then you can build your own AI SDR tool. Like the bleeding edge tools don't have that much more than that. What they're trying to do is get enough data so they have proprietary models, but they don't have enough data to do that yet. You actually need like millions of users to use it over probably years to get enough data. So it's kind of hard. So you can basically catch up to. That's why there's so many AI SDR clones out there that kind of look exactly the same. And it's also why we decided not to really focus on it because the upper limit of that right now can't really get that much better in terms of just generating emails. But you could do interesting things like automating interactions and researching like local events or something like that. And I don't know. There's like some weird things you can maybe do. But those are all harder. So okay, let's save this one. The log say it's running. Okay. Oh, we have emojis now. Nice. Yes. Oh, wait. Yes. Okay. So maybe we can make it look nicer. Yeah, it looks kind of like simple and things. We can make it look nicer. Let's add. Let's maybe add direct messages. Okay. Add direct messages next. Now it's kind of fun. At least once it's working. If it ever like breaks or goes off the rails, we can go back to like the last working version and try to like ask it a different way or ask a new feature or just keep adding features step by step like this, basically like we want. So, okay, let's continue. What would we basically like consider this if we were building? Oh, you signed. Someone else signed up. That's fun. So, if we were building this for a customer for an MVP, an MVP basically is enough to start the conversation with the customer. Basically, that's it. It's enough to get them to use the product and be interested in continuing to use the product. It doesn't have to be like the complete product. It just has to deliver enough value, one kernel of value, such that they're willing to continue to talk to you. So as an MVP, this is probably good enough. Actually, I don't think we need to do more than this. If the product were like a Slack thing and Slack didn't exist, you can imagine this would probably be good enough. I actually a cool story. So my first co-founder was the first investor in CNET. Sorry, in Salesforce, and he was the founder of CNET. And before they got invested in, I probably told this in like an earlier class, it was hard to get them for them to get money. But because he was the first investor, I got to meet like the whole founding team of Salesforce. And one of them, Parker Harris, was kind of like a mentor to me. And so he showed me the early Salesforce demo, and there you can't find this online anywhere. I think I generated like a mock-up of it somewhere, but basically it was a simple HTML form that looked kind of like looked uglier than this actually. It was just like a very 90s era HTML form that any high school student could have built, but it allowed you to enter customers and then like track them in a table, and it worked. It actually worked and had like a database underneath it and stuff like that. And so that was actually the demo that was all they needed to raise their first 20 million and prove to investors that it was worth taking a risk on them. But back then it was kind of like hard to do. So an MVP is actually exactly that. It's just functional enough that your most desperate customer will be willing to use it and pay you for it. And if you don't have a customer who's desperate enough to use an MVP product, like they want you to make it look pretty or something, they're not desperate enough actually. If they want you to make it look pretty, then it means that their concern is usually not urgent enough, and that's not their top concern. And if it's not urgent enough, then there is some mistake was made in our class one form, like formalization of prioritizing ideas, which means we should probably go back to like finding an idea that has more urgency and frequency. Otherwise, you can end up in this trap where you're kind of building a product that's good, but it doesn't really solve an urgent problem. So customers are just going to keep asking you to do things that are just like they think it's what they want, but they don't really urgently need it. And so they're just trying to find use for it. Actually, they're just trying to try and like make a use of their purchase. But that doesn't actually help you as a founder find product market fit because as you as a founder should be finding problems that are so urgent that the customer is willing to use the ugly MVP. Otherwise, you're going off in like some other direction in business that is not really solving a problem. So, okay. So what, like, I wouldn't actually add any more features to this. Like even the emojis is probably more than enough. That's fine. But you can now take this code and apply it to your own server or edit this and add your own features. It's server 14. So you can try adding features to this and see like if it breaks, like I didn't write any of the code here. I just copy pasted the errors back in and they work. So let's do maybe like one more feature and then we can call it. So what time is it? Oh yeah, we're kind of like 2 hours over, so that's fine. So one more feature. We can make one trick I like that might be helpful is you can actually just ask it to make it look better. I think that most people don't realize this. So you can say, make this look better using modern UI UX design practices. Make it as easy as possible to use. And keep all the existing functionality and add any features you think are important to make it easy. Okay, let's generate this one. Wait, I want to make sure I have the latest version before I generate it. Okay, this one works. Okay, generate that one. Okay, good. So some of the one of like all the tools that we added to this are things I actually want. Like I want a Slack clone, I want an AI SDR. We have our own email transactional service, but we can probably make it better. And I'm going to keep adding products to this list, things that I just want to start with. But then whatever like people want next, we can basically go down the list and build complete open free versions of these that you can copy. So like instantly, DocuSign, um, HubSpot, CRMs, things like that. You can use the chat if you have a question. I'll come back and answer questions. So let me see. Oh yeah, instantly would be fun. Like all the transactional email services are so expensive because they charge per email or customer. But that was like a trick that they did. Like software isn't actually the software is nowhere near that expensive actually. It's kind of funny. Yeah, if you guys have any other ideas for things we should build next, we'll just do live streams even outside of the class, where I'll just show you how to use this to build basically any product you can build step by step. Even things that are like inventing ideas and things. Because like that example of the GitHub um, file system, I wouldn't have done it myself actually. It's way too tedious. I know how to do it. I can imagine and tell it how to do it, and it wouldn't have suggested it to me. But because I had the deep industry insight, I was able to imagine some impossible thing. So you guys probably also know like some impossible thing in your market that I don't know, but if you can just describe it, ooh, that's a fancy. See, it looks nicer, right? It's like it's like an easy trick. You can do this to all your projects, and you can make them look like better UI UX. We've done this several times to Agent Space and GLayer. Yeah, the add button is now down here and easier and funny. That's a cool. Okay, cool. So this is a fully functional version of Slack where you can clone your own intranet version for your own team and add whatever features you think that are missing from the actual version of Slack. Um, like user controls, that's probably next. Maybe you want like ability to ban users or something. But you can just keep adding whatever you want, and then you don't have to pay for the ridiculous subscription to get unlimited data with Slack because it's hosted on your machine or in Firebase, and so it's free. Firebase has extremely like high limits for paying. It's like thousands of users per day and things. So okay, so that was the last feature. Okay, so I went through and built an entire thing from end to end. I expected to get to at least two in this class, but it took longer than I expected. So we got through Slack. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do some live streams because I'm getting tired. So I'll do some live streams this week where, well, actually, we'll keep updating the Slack code. Now you guys have access to this Slack code. It's like open source. So we'll keep adding features to all of these. We'll make an instantly clone. We'll make a Slack clone. I want to make like an AI note taking app. We can even make our own transactional email service like MailChimp and Mailgun, like a CRM that allows welcome emails and things like a Clavio clone, I think, would probably be cool. Um, yeah, and then go from there. Just keep adding like what we need next. Those are like the top ones that we probably need that we spend the most money on. But as soon as we generate them, we can like stop paying for those, I think. Like definitely drip and like instantly. Those are like expensive things. We probably don't need them. They're very simple to generate, actually. Okay, so let's go back here. Yeah, I wanted to do an AI SDR. That's in the code. Let me. Oh, yeah, we can do a DocuSign clone too. Actually, you can do a DocuSign. Now you know how to do it yourself. You can just ask it to generate a DocuSign clone and see if it does it. Try that in one of these servers. It should know what DocuSign is, and it should be able to generate one for you. I think the problem with DocuSign is that it has like brand authority, so people trust it. So if you send them some like other random link, they'll say, "Why don't you send a DocuSign?" Yeah, so you have to like convince people to use it. Okay, so all right, so now you guys have like all the tools that I have to build. I'll answer questions in a second, but basically you are on the same level playing field. So that means that you can build everything we can build. You can generate like the bleeding edge servers and services and tools and things like that. And so what you should now work on is first prioritize the idea that's most important and validate it using just a landing page. So you don't have to build the whole thing. Get a list of 5 ideas, test them all with landing pages. Pick the one that gets someone to actually pay you, and then if you don't get someone to pay you, get a new list of ideas. So and keep repeating that until you get someone to pay you for a landing page. Then when you get someone to pay you for the landing page, go build the MVP. So you can now build the MVP using either this OpenAgent Studio. You can use the server that I have. You can build it on that server, and we can transfer you to like your own cloud server. That's pretty easy to do. Just like save your own code, so if it crashes, you can keep it and things. Or toy.new has a new interface. So toy.new now works entirely in the browser, and you just have to enter like your open router key, and it starts generating it live here. And it can do all the same things, except the big difference is OpenAgent Studio lets you do backend stuff. So you can do more complicated stuff. And this is a little bit faster now and also works on mobile, so you can play around with it. You don't need to install anything anymore. And after you publish it, just tag me and Bootcamp Season 5, and then that will enter you in a chance to win $9,000 in credits to grow that as a product. So that's about like 3 agents per day, 3,000 videos per month. And based on other customers who have done that, they've gotten like 20 keywords basically. So yeah, we don't use the Chrome extension anymore. You don't need to for toy.new. You can use toy.new, the website, directly. Yeah. So I'll answer questions in a second, but that's like the last slide basically. So now you should work on building your MVP, submit it. You can use Teams if you want to. You don't need Teams. Um, Post it on LinkedIn with Bootcamp Season 5 and tag me, and the winner will get 9,000 in credits. In the next class, we'll go over how to actually grow your brand using tricks that we've figured out um, uh, um, manually to build agent space, basically. And then so you can use these tricks even manually and things like that. Okay. So let me answer questions. Let's go back here.